Hello and welcome back to another fabulous edition of the Retail Podcast. Obviously, I think it's fabulous. And the other reason it's fabulous is I've got the wonderful Simone with me. Hello, Simone.
Welcome back.
Thank you. So this week is a special show because one of our major stories is going to be focused on you, Simone. The Retail Gazette have covered NIFT. So I'd love to know a little bit more what happened at the interview. What did you talk about? What's NIFT up to? The other three things that we're going to be talking about today is value, looking at what value means and the fact that you and I have spoken about value a few times, but how the UK isn't necessarily just choosing value on price. I think there's other elements. What's happening over at Harvey Nichols and IKEA's little announcement for the UK. So we have a packed show. But Simone, you're a famous superstar.
Oh, stop it. I'm blushing.
Retail goddess. So tell me, what you were on? Let me share the article. You were interviewed for the Retail Gazette. What's going on?
Oh, we're really using this as a shameless plug, and I'm here for it. But
It's
yeah,
not a shameless plug. It's an interesting news story.
I'll
Tell
take
me.
it. But for those that don't know me and my company, I'm the co-founder of a business called Need It for Tonight, also known as NIFT. We do instant delivery for retail. We have two sides. One is like kind of like delivery, but for quality fashion and retail. And the second is we have a plugin that plugs into retailers' checkouts to give them 90-minute and same-day delivery. I had a lovely interview with the Retail Gazette, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And what we have announced just this week last week, should I say, is we have actually we've teamed up with the Westfield White City, and we've opened up what we call NIFT Logistics. We've opened up a 12,000 square foot warehouse, which is where I'm here today. It's underground. I have no windows, but it is an incredible space. And, where this kind of stemmed from is I spend my life chatting to lots of different incredible brands. Usually when we partner with stores, we kind of aim at turning stores into like these mini fulfillment centers. We try to encourage more rapid and localized delivery from the stores. But of course, there are many stores out there that just don't have a bricks and mortar store, and they seem like they're London centric, but actually it's really it's very expensive to hold your stock in a warehouse in London. So often it's Milton Keynes, it's up north, because a lot of retailers out there just don't have the money or the infrastructure
London
to
is
have
an
a
expensive
physical
place.
presence. Exactly. So that was one of the reasons why we wanted to launch this. So we're super excited by it. We've got some great brands coming in, and we're looking forward to just scaling it further.
So tell me, from a customer perspective, what am I going to get if I go to NIF? Because by the way, go to Simone's LinkedIn or Instagram. She's got some fabulous content there. So anyway, if I come to NIF, what am I going to get? Why should I come?
You should come to NIF because, well, first of all, you get very speedy and accurate delivery, but curation is a huge part of that. We've worked really hard to make sure we have the right brands on there. We've got a lot of independents on there, a lot of the brands in Kings Road, from beautiful brands like Farm Real, but then we've got more kind of premium and well-known brands. We've got brands like Ralph Lauren featured on there. So it's just it's just very well curated. I really do think there's something for everyone, but underlying is it's focused on quality. So yeah.
So men and women?
Men and women, yeah.
And if I live in the London area or the areas that you cover, what does that mean?
Everywhere in
How
London.
quickly can I get the stuff that I see?
90 minutes is the quickest.
Really?
Yes. And like
That's like
delivery,
need
you
it
can
for
track it
now,
in
not
real
need it for
time as
tonight.
well.
Say
Yeah,
again?
need it for now. I said, and like delivery, you can then track the rider in real time as well. So yeah, it's
And are you using somebody else for last mile?
So we have built a piece of technology that allows us to partner with different courier networks. I would like to highlight that it is not Just Eat riders or delivery riders. It's not going to come smelling of McDonald's, but instead we have some great partners.
They've shoved your $2,000 dress in the same box. They've just had a pizza, which I mean, we joke, but Uber Eats has done really well growing, and we've discussed it on the show.
No.
But you sort of at the back of your mind thinking that driver has just delivered some food, and they are delivering your, I think, and I love it. I love the idea of curation, and I've done some personal shopping with you, so I can imagine it's quite on the money in terms of. So it's male and just again male and female.
Male, female. We do have kids as well, and we've got a bit of homeware because we work with some boutiques that have nice little candly bits and stuff.
I absolutely love that. And what a beautiful city in terms of London to be able to launch and grow from. So I look forward to seeing that grow from strength to strength. Okay, moving on with the other blockbuster news. And an interesting one. We talked about this off camera. You and I have spoken about value time and time again. We keep saying Primark's doing a cracking job. There's new entrants into the UK market, lefties from Inditex, from China. I forget the brand that's coming into the UK. It is a growing market, but here you have one of the largest, and again, maybe this is to value, right? In terms of a pound shop, but ultimately it's the same category. But they're suffering. They may be sold again in just 1 year after a £1 rescue from the Gordon brothers, because they're now looking to sell Poundland again, which really made me think in terms of the strategy that people have got in this value world. What is my merchandising strategy? So price alone won't win it. And I think you see this a lot in grocery, where people, have rollback pricing or guarantee price. Like, I don't care what I want a value price, but I also want to feel good when I'm there.
Yeah,
I'm in
I
your
completely
store.
agree. Who do you
And
think's the competitor of Poundland? Who do you think's their main competitor? I'm just trying to
You've got a
think.
few, right? We did. We covered them last week. The Manchester, they've opened up an online pound type store that goes up to £10. And I think there's a couple of different, there's local pound shops. But ultimately, my gut feel is the experience.
I agree.
You've got, I don't know if Action is, I don't think Action is in the UK yet, but they're not pound, but they're value driven. The same type of products that you'll find in Poundland. But anything from £1 to, 15 euros, 95% of the products are the same in every single store. They are opening one store a day across Europe, right? So 352 odd stores a year they're opening. And they're going gangbusters. They're just doing incredibly well. But when you're in that store, it's okay. It doesn't feel, like a bad experience. And I'm not saying that is what you get at Poundland. I just think it's a little bit more than just price. And I think this is a harsh reminder for it.
Yeah, I agree.
Moving on, we both had this. Harvey Nicks. I love Harvey Nicks. You love Harvey Nicks. And now Harvey and Frasers love Harvey Nicks. So they've gone and bought them out of administration. I don't know. What's your thoughts?
Well, look, since it's happened, they've temporarily gone offline while its physical stores remain open. I think for me, I can't help but just look at the pattern. And I feel, because I love Harvey Nicks, I think what will happen is that the Edinburgh store and the London store will remain open. But after Frasers bought House of Fraser, about 50 of the stores eventually closed, and the remaining stores were either converted into more of that kind of Frasers format. Then there was Jack Wills, which did survive after being bought from administration. And then there was
Flannels.
Matches was the more recent one, which Frasers bought and then placed into administration less than 3 months later. Something luxury suppliers, they haven't forgotten, and a lot of them just have been really burnt by it. So I can't. You have to wonder what is really going to happen to Harvey Nichols. I know that Frasers have said that. I guess they've warned that they're going to have to make tough choices. But my prediction is that they'll protect the Knightsbridge store, maybe Edinburgh, just because of that heritage, and they've got so much brand equity there. But I think what they will do is they might end up closing the regional stores, and they'll convert that into like Flannels or Frasers.
I think it's a play for the luxury market network, right? I mean, I have no idea how much that Knightsbridge property is worth if you're going to convert it into luxury flats, compared to keeping it as which in M&S had thought about it. John Lewis thought about it. Each flagship retailer has thought, do we change our flagship store into mixed use, right?
Yeah.
Who knows what they're going to do? But I think the cynic in me is I'm going to try and own the luxury sector. I'm going to try
Yeah.
and own the brands. I'm going to try and own the IP, and I'm going to try and own the physical
I think,
distribution network.
yeah.
And if they do a good job, they can export Harvey Nichols as the luxury UK thing. But again, maybe it's Flannels. Who knows who will win in terms of,
Yeah.
is Flannels more relevant and Harvey Nichols is, as you said, more heritage and legacy. It's an interesting one. Moving on quickly because we're going to run out of time. Now this is it. So this story, I remember 7 years ago, I heard IKEA saying one of the conferences that they have this strategy, and it's fantastic to see it. But it's taken 7 years to come to fruition, right? But they've just launched in 5 countries: Spain, Norway, Portugal, Poland, Sweden, and the UK. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I just think it's such a smart move because IKEA already has this like enormous resale market. It might not be through IKEA, but it's through Gumtree, Facebook Marketplace, and eBay. So rather than just pretending that that market doesn't exist, they're bringing it into their own ecosystem and monetizing off it. Yeah, I love it. I think it's really smart for them to do that.
And apparently you can get IKEA vouchers for your stuff as
Yes.
well. And also the growth of Vinted, I think, was one of the platforms that they had to sort of combat against.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's been a path. Sorry, go on.
Oh, I just sorry, I just didn't know that Vinted was one of the. I never associated.
That's what I
Vinted
heard
with furniture.
on the grapevine.
Yeah.
Could be wrong because Vinted is not really furniture, right? It's more fashion.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, listen, Simone, thank you so much. And until next week, I look forward to speaking to you then.
Until next week.